Babes Behind the Beats with Jess Bowen and Bowie Jane.
Hello, Jess. It's Bowie Jane here on Babes Behind the Beats. G'day. How are you going?
G'day, Bowie Jane. I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's not quite as hot today. Everyone will be pleased to know.
Yeah, no, that is true. Thank God. My hair is thankful for it, to be honest with you.
Jess has really curly hair, if you didn't know. I'm sure you all know.
Thick hair is the thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm doing good. Just thinking about this before we started, I was like, I'm so excited for tomorrow. Every day after we do our podcast, did you know that I go get In and Out? Like the day after? Because, I have to say this on air, we do drink like before we do our, like sometimes before the interviews, but mostly afterwards, maybe in like celebration and also like when we're recording some videos just to have fun. So, you know, sometimes the day after I drink, I don't feel the best. I just feel a little under the weather. Yes, maybe hungover. And the best hangover cure is In and Out.
In and Out, to our worldly non-California listeners, I had no idea what it was when I first moved to California, but it's like this boutique kind of burger place. Well, it's a chain. It's like McDonald's, but it's
fast food, yeah.
But it's boutique. And the burgers are really yum. Like, they're really fresh. I don't know how to explain it, but I know a couple of Aussies, when they come, they're like, oh, In and Out. Like, they know of it.
It's like a staple. I mean, like, to be honest with you, I've seen some videos of people that try it, and like there's funny videos of people that are like, try it for the first time, and they're just like, I don't understand the hype. But there is something about it that's like I'm not saying it's the best burger in the world, but I love In and Out for what it is. It's like how some people probably love like Wendy's burgers. You know, like people have their thing. It's just In and Out happens to be a little bit more popular.
And it's cheap.
It's like so cheap.
$3 for a cheeseburger.
What do you order when you go?
I always get a cheeseburger. No fries, because, you know, trying to be skinny.
Really? No French fries?
No.
Okay. Well, do you want to hear my order?
Yes.
I get a this actually gets, sorry people, I'm that person that takes a long time when I order because this is what I want. I say I would like a number 2, which is cheeseburger, animal style, ketchup and mustard instead of spread, extra pickles, buns extra toasted.
What?
And fries well done.
Hang on, animal style, what the hell is that?
You don't know what animal style is?
No.
Bowie? And you've been to In-N-Out Burger?
Yeah, but
you've never gotten animal.
I've never, all I can see on the board is cheeseburger and...
Yeah, but everyone knows it. But okay, Bowie, animal style is like what In-N-Out signature. This is why I think people go there. It's because it's like the signature, like this is, you can only get this at In-N-Out.
Hang on, is this a secret? Like, because it's not on the menu.
It's not on the menu, but it I don't want to say it's a secret, but I feel like everyone that knows In-N-Out, I mean our listeners can tell us if you've heard of animal style or not, but I feel like this is just what In-N-Out is known for. Is animal style.
So what does that mean? Like, that sounds dirty.
That reminded, I don't know, for some reason that just brought me back to that song, the Discovery Channel song.
Oh yeah,
do it like that. For some reason,
yeah,
it's animal style. It just brought me back to that. But okay, animal style is, well, the patty is mustard grilled, and then it comes with grilled onions and pickles,
right?
And then it has like extra spread. So you know how normally it comes with that spread, like the normal spread. It's kind of just like a little extra. It makes it a little messier. It's just better.
So basically, the trick is it's mustard grilled, is it? So this is, I'm going to try this.
Yes and no. It also makes it because it comes with the grilled onions and the pickles. So the normal burgers don't come with those.
Wow.
So it makes it so much better. And try it my way. Get the bun extra toasted.
Oh my God. I couldn't be bothered. I'd be like, I'm hungover, get me a cheeseburger.
I'm actually surprised some of the people at In-N-Out haven't been like, no, I'm not going to put that down for you. Just have the fucking animal style burger and enjoy it. Because I'm like, and then I want this, and then extra pickles. And then I order a side of the chilies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, weren't you telling me about In-N-Out that they do? By the way, we are not sponsored by In-N-Out. Maybe we should get an In-N-Out sponsor.
If only we could.
Weren't you telling me that you get a patty for your dog or something?
Oh my God, yes.
Is that there?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so every time me and Lauren, my girlfriend, every time we go to In-N-Out, we get Pepe a puppy patty because we feel bad that we're like enjoying our food, and he just looks at us like, am I going to get a French fry? So we get him his own puppy patty, which is just the grilled, it's the patty with no salt so that it's fine for the dog. It's like a beef patty.
my God, how much is it?
Like $1.
Oh, wow.
It's for just like a tiny little patty.
That's cute.
And then I just like, we rip it up and we put it in his bowl and he, no joke, inhales it. Actually inhaled. The first time we got it for him, because we were also like, I don't know, kind of new dog owners and didn't know like, oh, you probably should like rip this up. I just thought he would like eat pieces of it. But I feel like he almost choked. He picked it up and within 6 seconds, it was gone. There was no breath. There was no chewing. It was like all of a sudden he picked up the patty from his bowl and then looked back up at us and I was like, are you done? And he was just like, where's my next one?
You're like, that was $1 well spent.
Yes, 6 seconds. No joke. It was 6 fucking seconds. And it was inhaled by him.
That's hilarious. Well, I don't have a puppy, but actually, can you post a photo of this puppy patty?
Yeah, because obviously since we're recording right now, I'm going to have to go tomorrow. Like I said, I'm excited because I'm thinking about going tomorrow.
Yeah.
And when I say morning, it is the first thing I do. Like we wake up and it's like, all right, in and out on Wednesdays.
That's hilarious. So today we've got a really cool guest, which has nothing to do with In-N-Out Burger.
Unfortunately.
But her name's Kate Flather, who is an advertising guru for record labels. Jess and I were just talking about all the different elements of the music industry which go into putting an artist out. So, well, if you're not signed, of course, you're doing all this stuff yourself.
Right.
But if you're signed to a label like it would have been
if you've got a label, you've got a whole like marketing team that's working for you. You've got, it kind of comes with being signed as you kind of almost get with the record label. You kind of...
Which is amazing.
Which is great. You kind of get a little bit of everything.
But your publicist, you've got your marketing person, advertising, A&R, obviously A&R, your manager, your tour manager.
Yeah, there's so many different jobs outside of just, what your label gives to you. Yeah. And then, outside of the industry itself, or outside of that itself, you've literally got tour managers, you've got production managers, you've got assistant tour managers, and, the list goes on and on for it also depends on what level your band is at, or artist is at.
Because it all costs money and it's coming off your budget.
But I mean, there's some teams of, 50 to 100 people that could be on tour because there's even like the meet and greet, you've got people running just the meet and greet itself. There's just so many levels of people that are on the road that I think some people are maybe not even familiar with.
Yeah, that's right. So Kate worked designing the advertising and the graphics and all that kind of stuff for labels. So the label would say to her, hey, we've got to put this album out and we want to place it in Rolling Stone an ad. So we want you to design something. So she would design that side. And it was interesting because she's worked with Indigo Girls, Van Halen, and the list goes on. So I can't wait to have a chat with her.
Very excited to hear all of her stories. I know she's got some good stuff.
Yeah, plus she's my mate and we ski and surf together. We ski at Mammoth.
Yes, got it. I got to go to Mammoth with you guys.
You're coming up this season.
This next time I'm coming with you guys.
If there is a season.
Oh, yeah. We'll see.
Anyway, we are looking forward to chatting with her next. Hi, it's Bowie, Jane and Jess, and we have Kate Flather here, who is a friend of mine. She's an advertising guru and graphic designer. She's worked with some huge acts in the music industry in clients that include Rhino Records, Indigo Girls, Hollywood Records, The Suicide Machine, Steve Wynn, oh my God, Ashleigh, Flynn, the list goes on, even Coca-Cola, that's huge. And welcome, Kate. Yeah.
Woo, hey, Kate. Thank you, girls. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So, Kate, you and Bowie are old friends. So this is my first time, I guess, meeting you via podcast. So for myself and for the audience, could you just give us a little maybe summary of what exactly it is that you do and how you got into it?
Well, currently I have been for about 3 years working with a friend of mine's band, mainly in the design and branding side, but kind of as a de facto consult as well. And I kind of got to this place. Formerly worked in advertising as an art director and then as a commercial and music video director, kind of through the 90s and into the early 2000s. That was really cool. It was a real heyday for music, and there was the whole .com run, which was amazing for creative work in advertising. And then took a little time off and started a small design agency with a friend, a bi-coastal agency that we ran for, almost 16 years. And just kind of shut that down. And pretty much on the heels of that, got hooked up with this band, Ashleigh, Flynn, and the Riveters, and have been kind of working with them ever since.
That's awesome.
So, Kate, what was the journey to get to the point? Like, you obviously went to university, and how did you get there?
Funny you should ask. Well, I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, on the East Coast. One day at school, they gave us all a test, and it was kind of a standardized test. Like I remember filling in the bubbles, and all that, but it was a test to measure your art aptitude. And based on that, myself and a friend got sort of plucked out of school. Every Friday afternoon, we got matched up with an actual working artist in our region. And we sort of interned with them for an entire term, I guess. My dad was really into woodworking. So we all had our own workbenches down in our basement, and we'd kind of get crafty that way. In high school, we had a pretty good art department. I took some drawing classes. There was actually a design class, some photography, but not a lot. And then when I got to college...
Guys, she went to Harvard, by the way. She went to Harvard. I mean,
I did go there.
It sounds so cool.
It's not as impressive as it sounds.
It's very impressive, Kate. I'm telling you. I'm a college dropout, so you went to Harvard and graduated from Harvard. That's impressive to me.
Well, the graduating part was impressive. I actually nearly did not graduate because I had one outstanding library fine that I remember sprinting to get that paid as my parents are like coming for graduation.
No.
But really, so at Harvard at the time, I think it's changed now. They had this thing called the core curriculum where you had to take a class in something like 8 different disciplines. And there were a variety of things to choose from, but you sort of had to take something in religion, something to do with mathematics. And then they had sort of an art component and so on and so on. There were economics and stuff. So I got matched up with a senior guy was matched up with me as just sort of at when you got to campus, kind of showing you the ropes. And he actually, when we were picking our classes, suggested that I take this sort of intro to architecture class. I forget what it was called. It was this amazing professor, though. His name was Professor Bakanowski. It was kind of like half sculpture, half architecture. And I loved it so much, I ended up majoring in that department, which was called Visual and Environmental Studies. And they had 3 tracks. You could either go through on a fine art track, a photography and film track, or an architecture, design, and urban planning track. So I did that. And that was really great. I noticed a couple years in that I didn't totally have the patience for the length of time the architectural projects were taking. And then randomly that following summer, I ended up in San Francisco with a friend. We got there with no money, somehow got an apartment. That's actually the only thing my Harvard education maybe ever got me was we showed our IDs and got an apartment without any money in the bank.
Oh my God.
So there we are. Now we need jobs. And I answered an ad in one of those 2 main San Francisco papers to be a bike messenger, got the job, and got put actually on an account, which was kind of unlike the way most messengers work there, which they'd get calls on radios. Myself and this other guy were put on an account where all we did all summer long was deliver these things called Chromatex, which back before there were color printers, if you were a designer and you wanted to show your client something in color, you had to send out for these things, which were basically, they would make photostats of your artwork and then convert them into rub down. It's kind of like a sticker transfer too. But they could mix any color known to man. So basically all I did all summer was ride around, get the artwork from these design studios, bring it to this company. They'd make the Chromatex and I'd take them back. And it was everything from these big branding agencies, Landor and Associates comes to mind, which still exists, huge branding agency. Chevron had their own internal design department, a lot of ad agencies, but mostly design companies, Random House Books, anywhere that needed to show their clients samples of stuff in color. So the moment I walked into Landor and Associates, this huge warehouse right on the waterfront, everyone's in jeans and t-shirts. They're working on the branding for Shell gas stations and Hawaiian Airlines. And they've got these little model planes and model gas stations, and they're just pasting up logos on these things. And I'm like, I cannot believe this is a job. I have to do this.
That sounds good.
So a lot of times you get in there and these companies were really great. They never had their stuff ready for pickup, and they would always let me come and walk around and back and ask questions. And pretty much everyone I asked all over that city said, if you want to do this, you should check out this school called Art Center down in Pasadena in LA. So I sent away for their catalog, and it probably came kind of end of July. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't even want to go go home and finish college. I want to go right to this school. And I remember I called my mom and I said, hey, I found this school. I'm going into my senior year. Found this school in LA. I think I want to just stay here and Bike Messenger for a few more months. And then I'm going to apply for their graphic design department. And my mom was like, oh no, you are coming home. Yeah. And the reality of my bank account was I had to come home anyway. Finished my senior year at Harvard, but applied to this school here in LA, Art Center, got in and literally turned and burned the summer after I graduated from college and went to 4 more years of school out here. Kind of 2/3 of the way through that. The thing that was interesting about that school is you went for 4 years. You could get through, if you went through the summers, you could kind of get through in a little less than 3. And the advertising and graphics tracks were parallel till halfway through, and then they split. So I had a ton of friends in advertising, and I'm off in graphics, and they're all fired up. There were some really incredible ad instructors there, as were the graphics instructors, but the advanced graphics classes were all day Saturdays, and I'm sitting in one and we're talking about the philosophy of bread packaging. And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. And meanwhile, my friends over in the ad side are like, oh my God, we have this incredible instructor, Mark Fensky. You have got to get in this class. And I heard enough about it that the very next semester I signed up. And interestingly, there were probably 5 or 6 of us from the graphics track that signed up because we all knew we had all gone along with these ad guys and they had all said, you guys need to take that class. So I walk into the first night of this advanced level advertising class taught by this guy, Mark Fensky, very, very well-known guy in advertising. The first thing he did, there were probably 20 of us in that class, is he showed his reel, which is basically showed us his work.
And was he doing music videos as well?
So unbeknownst to us in that first class, they were in production on this Van Halen music video that ultimately won MTV Video of the Year that year.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And I believe that was his very first music video. I'm fairly sure.
I was going to ask if that was the first project he worked on, which is huge. Like to have Van Halen as your first client as in the music industry.
Yeah, really massive. He had contacts at Warner Brothers, which was a label. They weren't planning on doing a video for that song. So the song was called Right Now. It's pretty familiar. You hear it at sporting events. I mean, it's a really catchy tune, but it was slated as the 4th single off the record, and the fans were going bananas for it and calling in to the label, like, where is the music video for this? So he knew those guys, and they kind of threw him a bone. They were just like, we got to make something, and just ask him to make something and then kind of let him roll with it. He came up with this idea, Van Halen Right Now, of just this series of very simple sentences. So it was kind of like these fill in the blank sentences. So right now, people are having unprotected sex. Right now, blacks and whites don't eat lunch together very much. So that type would come up on the screen, and then behind it would be a little vignette. Sometimes it was a piece of footage, sometimes it was a graphic, but they would sort of relate to the sentence. And there was very little band in that video. What band you saw, they kind of singled out each band member. And then there were 1 or 2 shots of the whole band together. But it really was, I would say, 90% these sentences. That evidently resonated. Like I said, it after all that, it won MTV Video of the Year, which...
That's incredible.
Were you like, oh my gosh, I want to work on that? I mean, were you into music or?
Well, I was into music. I'd played guitar on and off since 5th grade when my best friend took it up. Never really got that good. I can't sing, so that was a little tough. And I rarely had other people to play with. When I got introduced to the concept of the mixtape, that was it. That was like all I did in my spare time. So yeah, I love music. What was interesting, when we're in his class, we don't know he's working on this in his first class, but all the ad classes at Art Center were at night because all the classes there are taught by working professionals. One night, we all get these phone calls like, hey, don't come to school. Come to this post-production facility. It was on Barham over in the Valley. And we get over there and we literally walk into the color correction session of this video.
Oh, wow.
So maybe 10 of us made it there. Our eyes were as big as saucers, like, holy cow. And yeah, the scene in that video that they were working on when we walked in there was Eddie Van Halen's playing piano and the camera pans from his face to the keys. I think the line for that scene was, "Right now is harder than it looks." I think I was actually ballsy enough to make a comment on the color setting and suggest they take it a little bit more monochromatic. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I could really get behind this.
Wow.
You know, I'm just a student, but a couple months later, Mark asked me to come in and work on the second video he was working on.
What video was that?
This was for a guy named Steve Wynn, who was signed to Rhino Records' new artist label.
Okay.
The song was called Drag. And these two guys I knew from the advertising track in school were already interning for him. They were working on that. And I get a call at like 7 p.m. one night saying, "Hey, I'm in Pasadena. Hey, can you come out to West LA? Mark wants you working on this video with us." So I'm like thinking, hell yeah, get in my car, get out there, maybe 8 p.m. We worked mostly through the night that night, the next 4 nights. At that point, we're making type to put on the screen. Surprise, surprise. For that video, the song was called Drag. So Mark Fensky wanted the type to look like a drag, just to be as messed up as it could possibly be. Stepped on, crumpled up, graded into asphalt and dirt, maybe typed out on a typewriter, but Xing out letters, doubling up letters, all kinds of stuff like that. And so that's what we did. That was it. At that point, I was kind of an intern.
Was Mark working for Bomb Factory then, or he owned it, or was he on his own at that point?
He was on his own, had the name. He had gotten Rhino Records as an account. He approached them doing mostly print ads, but this Steve Wynn was on their new artist label. So they had him do this music video. But yeah, so he didn't have office space of his own. It was really just him.
Wow, with a massive client though.
Yeah.
Did he take you straight out of school or like?
He took myself and these 2 other guys, Mark Foster and Rob Palmer, straight out of school. It's really interesting because just recently I met this girl, Nancy Nelms, who graduated maybe not even a year before me. She told me, "I don't know if you realize how lucky you guys were." She's like, "You got the job I wanted, but the timing wasn't quite right. You know, he wasn't ready to grow his company at the time she graduated." And she's an incredible writer.
Wow.
Really great. Really great. And I remember her, she would come in and out of our office. She's the one who pointed out to me the serendipity of that timing. And it really was that Van Halen music video that really put him on the map, allowed him to rent space in Venice and literally pull 3 of us out of school and start a legit ad agency.
And it was just the 4 of you then? So it was 3 of you guys from school and then he started it. And was that the boutique company that started?
There were 5 of us. So it was
Okay.
Mark Fensky, and he had brought this girl, Anne Saulnier, down to LA. They had worked together at Wieden & Kennedy in Portland, Oregon. So she kind of ran the office and distributed the creative assignments, and she'd known him forever. So she just kind of managed the whole thing. And then it was myself and these 2 guys from Art Center, Mark Foster and Rob Palmer. So it was the 5 of us. And we used to joke that we were a family, that Mark was the dad and Anne was the mom and we were the kids.
Oh, cute.
You started all working together and you're straight out of school. What was your first sort of big job?
Well, he had Rhino Records as his main account. The majority of those assignments were print ads. So all of our very first assignments, we got individually doled out small space ads for records that Rhino was putting out. CDs, I guess I should say. So Rhino, had started as a record store in Westwood in LA, but fairly quickly morphed into a reissue label. So they would get the rights to other music and then compile them into really interesting compilations, or just sometimes re-release retrospectives of individual artists. My first assignment was for this single CD called Modern Acapella, which was probably just about what you could imagine. And it was a small space ad that was going to run a really vertical column in the back of maybe like Spin Magazine. I don't think this one ran in Rolling Stone. Mother Jones was another one where they had a lot of media buys. Pretty simple. Come up with a print ad for this record. You know, we all kind of struggled. I mean, even though we'd studied graphics and advertising in school, this was the real world. None of us had come up with anything good yet. And I remember him coming out of there one night just booming, like, "I can't believe I am paying you to have me teach you how to do this." But those first projects were a little bit of a struggle, but we got through it and the stuff went to press and we were off and running.
Rhino Records Records hired your company, which was Bomb Factory, to place ads in magazines for them?
So the way it would work was they would buy media before there was even any creative. So they would buy space in like this issue of Rolling Stone, this issue of Spin Magazine.
Okay. So they already purchased that space, but they obviously need someone to design something for that space.
Exactly. So they would have purchased the space, and then in conjunction with that, they would say, this is what we want to advertise for this space. This is what we want to sell in this space. This is what we want to sell in this space. And sometimes they were single CDs, often in the full page ads that they bought versus the kind of small space in the back of these magazines. They would gang a bunch of different CDs together and say, hey, we want to sell this collection of different artists.
I was just going to ask. That's so interesting. I was going to ask, I was like, who decides that? Because there's some huge artists, I'm sure, that you were like, oh, I want to do the ad for, like, the Monkees, I think, were one of the artists on Rhino, right? And so it's like, wouldn't you be like, you'd want to jump on that probably, but like you couldn't because someone else would assign who got what?
It was always a team effort. We didn't have a ton of involvement in each other's stuff, but we're all right there together. So we would bounce stuff off each other or whatever, but nobody was ever jealous of each other.
Okay, so clearly you guys couldn't call dibs on projects, we just discovered, but like what was the favorite project that got thrown at you that you got to do from Bomb Factory and working with like Rhino Records?
I couldn't single anything out music-wise because those 3 or 4 years were just an incredible musical education. You know, maybe you got thrown Zydeco, maybe you got thrown funk. I got some punk, DIY punk stuff, which
nice.
I really didn't know much about till then.
Yeah.
So every project you got was just this incredible little nugget of a musical education. I mean, I didn't even know that much about the history of the blues, and that wasn't even my project, but I didn't even know that rock and roll came out of the blues. You know, this was my education. So there was no bad project, but in terms of probably scope and scale, I landed the crown jewel of the whole span of time we were working on this. In a double page spread in Rolling Stone right before Christmas, they wanted to combine like maybe 8 box sets in the same ad and just sell these box sets. So the ones that off the top of my head come to mind, there was a John Coltrane box set. They were all over the map. There was a Western music box set. There was a Graham Parker box set. There were the Blues Masters compilation, which was 15 volumes.
Oh, wow.
In there. And then the question was, how do you, all this diverse music, how do you sell that together? And so, so that was double page spread, Rolling Stone right before Christmas. That was the money job. And I do not know how I pulled this out of my ass, but the concept was treat your ears like the sluts that they are.
That's advertising for you guys.
Right? Actually, I hadn't even presented it. I had that idea up on the wall. It was kind of Sharpied and no one was really paying any attention to what I was doing. And our liaison to the record company, Garson Foos, actually just popped into the office one day and saw that. This guy, his dad had started the company, but he was the marketing guy now. And he saw that and he's like, that's it. Like, I hadn't even necessarily thought that was the best idea, but he's like, all right, you know. So I'm like, all right, treat your ears like the sluts that they are. And Mark Fensky, very unlike him, said, it can't just be that. So he added a couple of extra words. So the headline became, treat your ears like the hopeless little sluts that they are, which to this day still bothers me.
Oh my God.
I think it sounds more aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. But anyway, he's the boss. That's the headline. That magazine dropped. And the day that it hit the streets, almost every single one of our art center classmates that knew the three of us were working at the Bomb Factory called in and were like, holy shit. It's interesting to look at these things kind of on a piece of paper, but then to think of them in the context of that magazine. And this was not in the back of the magazine. This was right in the middle, like maybe right even before the first big feature, at middle of December, right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas. So Christmas time, it was something
Family
about
time.
hopeless little sluts that they are, talking about your ears.
Well, no, the Christmas part was they wanted to sell these big box set compilations. Christmas parties, who knows what happens.
Oh my God. And so from there you worked on, didn't you work with the Indigo Girls?
Oh my God, my favorite.
I love the Indigo Girls.
Oh yeah. So the Indigo Girls saw the Van Halen video Right Now that Mark Fensky had directed, and Emily literally requested that he direct the video for Galileo, which I think was maybe only their second record, or at least mainstream record.
And you were hired on as the art direction team to do that video?
Yeah, so at the point that Mark / the Bomb Factory got Galileo, I was still kind of just in intern status, but kind of cemented. We hadn't been officially hired out of school. So I was still in school, but because I was the only girl creative of the three of us interns, and I knew their music, he flew me to the shoot in Atlanta.
That's so exciting.
He was very steadfast in that it needed to be an all-girl crew on the set. Wow. So that shoot, aside from himself and the director of photography, this guy Larry Fong that he brought out from LA, every single person on that set was a woman.
Wow. Like how many people? That's incredible. That would have been a lot.
It was a lot. It was 30 at least. I mean, you've got all the grips, the lighting department, everything.
I mean, that wouldn't happen today.
I was going to say at that time, especially, I imagine it was probably rare to have an all-female crew on a music video set, right?
I don't know that I've ever seen it.
I haven't seen it even this day, to be honest with you. And I was in a band for 10 years that had multiple music videos, and we had females that were part of the crew, but it was never all female. So that's wild to think that the entire crew was female. Wow.
That was a really cool day.
What drove him to do that? The all-female crew?
Well, it's an all-girl band.
Did you ever know if that was something they specifically asked for, or do you think it was just something that Fensky did because he felt like, for a female band, I want to, have...
This came from Mark because we now know we're having an all-female crew, and he instructed me to print up T-shirts to distribute to the crew.
Oh, yeah.
And on the front, it said in kind of like Southern accent spelling, "Women who get things done." And then on the back, he had him say, "Help us before we strike again."
Oh, wow.
It was awesome. I mean, so this was all him. It really was. That was his vision. But it was a special day. It really was.
Wow.
So, Kate, now recently you've been working with some different bands, Ashleigh, Flynn, and the Riveters. Is that right? And
that is correct.
What exactly are you doing with them? Are you still involved in the art side, or how did that all come about?
Really, the way this project started was Ashleigh kind of threw all three of us the notion of designing her record cover as a way for us all to stay connected. All four of us had become really good friends. So myself, Ashleigh, her sister, and our fourth friend, Danielle. We threw out some concepts. Then she asked for a branding meeting. And then about a month later, the record's long from being out yet, but she's needing to raise money to get it out. And so she decides to have this fundraising party up in Portland. Danielle and I kind of came up with their logo, which is this sort of circular thing. And Danielle and I did that over a lot of margaritas at a bar down in Venice one afternoon.
That's the way to do it. The best ideas come when you've had margaritas.
So then a month later, she puts on this fundraising party, and it was really pretty incredible. We've been working on the record art, working a little bit on branding, but everyone who worked on the record played, and it's all girls. It's 7 girls. So it's Ashleigh, lead singer-songwriter, Nancy Luca on electric guitar, awesome local Portland rhythm section, Carmen Paradise on bass, Jolie Clausen on drums, and that's the core of the band. But the other 3 women that worked on the record in the recording sessions were Jenny Conley, the Decemberists, on keyboards, this girl, Catherine Clare, incredible violinist, and then this girl, Arlie, on backing vocals. And so the 7 of them basically played through the record. It's not like I got hired. It's just like, let me help you.
Like, that's when the best creative stuff comes about, is when you're just working with people that you want to be working with and that you want to do stuff for, right? Like, it's you are like passionate about it. So it kind of just like falls into your lap in a sense of like, oh, wow, this is what I want to be doing. This is something I want to do.
That's so true.
Exactly. And I think music in particular is really special that way. There's a really well-known graphic designer up in Portland that is also very passionate about music, and he will work on almost anything that he believes in for free, and he just makes that up in his other jobs. But he's like, musicians can't afford this stuff, but I believe in it. I will do everything I can. This was a labor of love for me.
And Kate, you had some genius ideas about marketing. I remember you telling me that about you submitting their music videos to film festivals. That's genius. I've never thought of doing that. What was your reasoning behind that, your thinking behind that?
If you've listened this far, you realize there's no thinking behind anything. It just happens in the moment.
What was your lack of thinking behind that?
So the lack of thinking was, South by Southwest in Austin has part of their conference is a music video and film festival-ish component. So we thought the second video we did for them might be a good fit. So we started there. I mean, I think Ashleigh actually texted me like, hey, the deadline for this South by Southwest thing is like blank. And so in the process of looking into that, there's a platform for entering film festivals called Film Freeway, but it has kind of streamlined the process of entering almost any film festival in the world, of which, I mean, there are literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. But when I got deeper into it, I realized most of these things have a music video category, which, you wouldn't think, right? I mean, I just wouldn't think that.
I never thought of this. Never thought of this.
They all these festivals have these sort of rolling deadlines of submitting. And the earlier you submit, the cheaper it is. The earliest you submit, I don't think I've seen anything cheaper than $10. Even if you're at the last possible deadline, nothing is more than $50. I was like, this is an epic marketing opportunity. Like, even if you don't get accepted into these festivals, most of them go through 3 rounds of judging. So you are getting your stuff in front of eyes and ears for maybe $10. There is no downside to this. You don't want to start entering 20,000 of these things because at $10 a pop. The way this website, Film Freeway, is set up is you can really go through it. It describes the festivals. You can decide if it's a good fit. And some of these things are literally entirely music video centric. There's one in Paris. There's one in Berlin. There's one in Dublin.
Wow.
That are nothing but music videos.
And the idea behind it was to get the band exposure. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Not so much to win.
Yeah, exactly. As I told Ashleigh, I said, this is about the cheapest marketing you're ever going to get. So let's just do it and see what happens. And
so what I am interested in, and being a musician and that has been in bands and has had marketing and advertising through like our labels and whatnot, I'm interested because, Kate, like you used to be hired to do specifically prints in magazines like the Rolling Stone and Spin and things like that. I don't personally buy magazines really anymore. So I'm wondering how, the world is changing, this industry is changing as far as advertising and marketing goes, because where do you go now for the advertising and for the marketing and like what do you feel like is the best place to focus on doing that? Like what platforms?
I think you're absolutely correct, Jess. I wouldn't pay for a magazine ad right now.
Right.
I think what's really, it's interesting and exciting is this whole landscape is changing moment to moment. And I think it's gotten a little bit more democratic in terms of if you're a musician, it's not like you need to ink some record deal or have some marketing dollars. There's maybe a little bit more luck involved. What I've been told, at least in the Americana scene, is touring is key. Play, build up an audience, and above all else, build your merch empire. And I'm getting that straight from Ashleigh, and that's what she's been told. She's been in the business for almost 20 years. Everyone says that. If you're lucky, if you can get an opening slot for a kind of a big act, that's another ticket to kind of another stratosphere. John Craigie, this singer-songwriter out of Portland, Oregon, is an example of that. Jack Johnson picked him up to open, and he is just blown up.
All right, Kate, we didn't warn you about this, but we have a very special surprise. Because you went to Harvard, we're going to do a little quiz, and we do this with all our guests. How about the first question? Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Do you prefer dogs or cats?
Equally.
Ooh.
No, you got to pick one. Sorry. I'm sorry. You have to pick one.
I will pick cats only because my most recent part-time pet was a cat that was like a dog. So there you go.
Okay. See, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Love it.
You gave the explanation. You picked one. You can't have both. We've already discovered this in past like interviews. So next one. Again, you got to pick one. Putting this degree to the test. Whiskey or vodka?
Vodka.
Love it. Knew we'd be friends.
I know what the answer to this next one is. Beach or snow?
Oh,
actually, I don't know for you.
beach. And that, I know that has a question inflection at the end, but interestingly, I don't know if the quiz has like room for paras, but a few years ago, my mom and I were in hiking in the mountains of Switzerland, and someone asked this question, beach or mountains? And my mom and I just looked at each other and laughed. We didn't even answer. We're like, ocean, obviously.
Bowie, we're never going to get anyone that says no. I thought for sure, because you guys are mammoth friends, that we'd at least have one snow with Kate.
Sorry, girls, but that's, that is unequivocally salt water, sea level. Give me that shit.
All right. CrossFit or yoga?
Neither.
Okay.
Controversial.
Fair enough. We're going to get some of those.
I don't need anyone to organize my exercise. I got it covered.
Oh, yeah. You surf. Okay, and the last question, our normal question is what would be on your rider? So I think if you are art directing someone really big and you get whatever you need for the day or whatever you want, what would you have on your rider?
If I were in that situation, I would need nothing. The experience itself, as always, would be awesome.
Oh, no, wait. What about you're with Ashleigh Flynn? Ashleigh Flynn becomes like #1 in the world on the charts, is touring massive arena tours, and you're part of the crew. What would you ask for you on the rider?
I might ask for sort of what Taylor Swift used to do, which is like, let's go out into the audience and pick a bunch of fans and bring them backstage.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and what would you drink? You'll need drinks, won't you, for this expedition?
Sure. But Ashleigh and I both are prone to go way south with too much alcohol. So I might go with like a Starbucks venti lattes with whole milk straight up.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
Sorry to disappoint girls, but like, I'm trying to be responsible here. As a plan B, I will give a shout out to this beer called Montucky.
Ooh.
Montucky.
So you would have a couple of cans of that?
Yeah, I would have a couple cans of that.
All right, I'll have to try that.
Got a bunch of it in my fridge.
We're not sponsored by them, but we do like alcohol, so we will try it.
Yep. Experienced drinkers, as Bowie likes to say.
So that is the end of our quiz, and it was very simple, as you know, but, only someone who went to Harvard could probably answer that.
Yeah.
So we're very happy we had you on the show.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, thank you so much, Kate. You were amazing. Do you have any sort of like website or social media or anything you'd like to share with the audience to kind of find you so they could, maybe get to know?
Or Ashleigh Flynn.
Or any the project that you're working on right now?
Literally, spell it out. Ashleigh Flynn and the Riveters.com. Ashleigh is spelled the Irish way. ASHLEIGHFLYNN and AND. The Riveters, as in Rosie and the Riveter.com.
Perfect.
Pop it on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, we'll make sure to put those links there too. And you were awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, girls. Thanks for having me. It's cool to talk about this. I feel like we're in a little bit of the Wild West phase of music and life in general.
Absolutely. Agree with that.
Thank you so much, Kate Flather, not to be confused with Flather.
It's all good. I mean, with a name like mine, we get it all.
Awesome. Well, thanks again.
All right, girls. Thanks for having me.
We thought we would do something a little bit different for this podcast. We are going to do a true or false question, and let's see if any of you can guess the answer. But I'm going to ask Jess this. It's going to be a music fact on a female in the music industry. And I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to say, is it true or false? And you're going to guess.
I'll guess true or false. Okay. I don't know your question, and you won't know my question because I'm going to pick one for you next week. But
All right. This is true or false. Celine Dion wanted no part in singing singing the hit Titanic song My Heart Will Go On. True or false?
Ooh. I mean, it's one of the biggest. I would. True?
True. She did not want to have any part with the song. Her manager / husband convinced her that it would be good for her career, and lo and behold, her song went on to win a Grammy that year for Record of the Year.
Oh my God, so I got it right. I honestly
right.
just figured it seems too easy to be like, well, false, because it's one of the biggest songs of all time, but it seems like that was a trick question. But that's one of her biggest, that's like her biggest song, isn't it?
I know, isn't it crazy? People don't really know what's going to be a hit. You know something's good, but...
I know in my own experience, it's like you kind of fight with the label sometimes, or you fight with like people in your band where you're like, this should be the single, or like, oh no, that song's not good. This song's going to work. And then one of the songs that you don't think is going to work ends up being the single. I feel like that happens all the time, and it's the one that's the hit, you know?
Yeah, you know what song? Hey, I Just Met You.
Oh, Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yeah, that song, they did not want to put on the album, apparently. They didn't even want to release it, and she begged them. She said, no, I want the song on. And they were like, well, we'll put it down the bottom. And then eventually, for some reason, it got released as a single, and that was her breakthrough. And everyone else was like, no, we're not putting it on.
That's like one of those songs that's going to be known forever.
Yeah.
How could they not have wanted that? It's such a good song. It's so catchy.
I know, Pete. See, that not everyone knows, you know, you just, it's all timing and everything. But that song is good, yeah.
That song is so good. I remember the first time I heard it, I couldn't stop listening to it. I listened to it over and over and over again on repeat on this one tour I was on. It was like the only song I listened to.
She's a rock girl, people, but she's deep down, she's a pop girl.
Rock drummer, but love me some pop music. Who doesn't, you know?
Yes, I'm so excited because we have started a Patreon account, which is giving everyone, the people who love to listen to us, we're giving them some exclusive video content, which is super exciting, and a number of other things like early access to episodes, and
then we're also giving them shout outs
on
air. And then for some special guest list babes is what we have them as.
Yes.
We call them on air.
Yes. So we have our very first sign up. We don't know who it is yet. Although I do suspect, because I do know this name. So we're going to call her now. And she is our very first sign up to guest list babe. So have a look at the tiers on Patreon if you're wondering what that is. And it gives you access to the videos. You get an on-air chat with us. And here we go.
Let's do it. Let's call her.
A call. Okay, we have our very first guest list babe, Leonie from Australia. I'm suspecting this could be someone I know. Is it my mum, Leonie?
Oh, hello, I'm the best. I love to win. I'm a winner.
You are definitely the winner for Guest List Babes. You are the first sign up, and that's why you are getting your on-air call. Congratulations.
Hello. So excited to meet you on air. Bowie's mom, Leonie. I'm so happy to meet you finally.
Lovely to meet you too, Jess, via the internet.
And you must be excited to be on air. You're all the way in Australia and you are on air in America, which is pretty damn cool. In fact, you're going worldwide right now.
Worldwide.
There you go. My ambitions all achieved in one hit.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you, so far, have you listened to a majority of our episodes, or like here and there, or what about
Not only have I listened to them, I have listened to them twice. I am absolutely addicted. I laugh. I think it's so interesting because there's a lot of things there that even though, you know, we were with Bowie all of her life, there's a lot of things I'm finding out.
That's so amazing. Oh, that's so cute. Would you say there was an episode that was your favorite so far, or any moment that sticks out to you?
Well, I really love hearing about all of the different performers, and you had a photographer. You've had a lot of interesting people from all walks, but I really love the get to know you because I found a few little things out about Bowie.
Yes.
And that is why we have to be careful what we say on air, Jess.
I know. If I
And
knew,
not only that, I know that the aunties and uncles are listening too, so you have to be super careful.
actually, I want to do a big shout out to David and Lana Ball in Marupna, Australia. We like to call them the Marupna Balls. Hello. Thanks for listening.
Hello, the Marupna Balls. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate the support.
It actually sounds a lot ruder when Jess says it, Marupna Balls.
Marupna Balls. Is that wrong?
No, it's just like,
Did I
because of your
say it
accent.
wrong? Oh, no. My dumb accent. I'm sorry that I ruin everything with my dumb accent, guys.
No, well, so yeah, we love that you're a dedicated fan. That's hilarious. Mum, just by way of background, is not in entertainment at all, and she owns a wool shop. It's called the Wool Bar. So
The Wool Bar.
Yeah,
Ooh.
WOOLBAA. And she sells yarn. And but you're in lockdown at the moment, aren't you, Mum?
We are, but as in we operate through the internet, so the website still goes. So every day we're working there, still doing internet orders, and we can do click and collect so that people come along and pick up their order.
And in America, we call that curbside pickup.
Curbside.
Click and collect. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for listening.
Yes. And I just wanted to ask one more question. Can you tell me a funny story of Bowie at all when she was growing up? Something that like sticks out in your mind, something that I want to know something about her from when she was younger, or like her childhood.
Well, pretty much what you see now is what she was right from the very get-go. As soon as she came out, this is how she was. Party girl, extraordinaire, likes to be centre of attention. Everything she did, I had no idea. I thought, I was under the mistaken belief that you can mould your children. No, you cannot. They are who they are. So she would come out. She would be like, even when she's sitting back in a little bouncerette, I don't know what you call them over there, but they had these little net things that you put the baby in when they're like 6 months old, and they would kick up and down and they would bounce. So when we put her in that, and we might pull out a camera to take a little photo of her sitting in there. As soon as the camera came out, big smile from ear to ear. And then as she got a little bit older, every time a camera came out, instant huge smile that would light up the street. And then she would go, if we went to a little, had a picnic, and she would see a family group out there pulling out the camera, they're going to take a family shot. She would crawl over there, sit in front of their family group, and get her picture taken too. So she was photobombing right from the very start.
Bowie invented photobombing. That is what we have discovered.
That's it. I didn't mind the camera.
Yeah, and then as she got older, she would just do every activity that would have her centre stage. That's where she would be happiest. Me, I would be nervous and fall apart. Not her. She was her happiest, and she would put in her best performance if people were looking. So it was a constant look at me.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
I'm not vain, guys. I am not vain.
Not vain. Not vain.
She just enjoyed the intention. It wasn't even being vain. It was just, that's when she was happiest. So yeah, I can see. I should have just worried about doing anything to bring her up. Just let her go.
Yeah, it's the thrill of performing. I remember that feeling, and it's not like look at me and an attention thing. It's just that thrill you get when you're on stage doing anything. Yeah.
Oh, love it. Thank you for sharing that with us. Oh my God, that's amazing. And and seriously, thank you for being our patron. You are the first patron. And
I am so honored. I am thrilled. That is something I will carry to my grave. I was number one.
You are incredible.
Actually, we have one other. First general admission babe was Lisa Weiss from Brentwood. Leonie, you are the guest list babe number one.
Number one. You're the number one. You're number one on the guest list.
You are, whereas Lisa is the number one on the general admission babe. So, yeah.
Well, that's going on the bottom of every email I send out from here on. That is going on the bottom underneath my name.
Yes, love it. Well, thank you so much again. It was so nice to meet you. I have to meet you in person, obviously, at some point. I cannot wait for that to happen, but it was nice to meet you over the internet. So
I am so excited as well. So lovely to meet you, Jess. I'm glad that Bowie's got a CrossFit buddy because that saves me from having to do it with her when I go over there. And she's made me do some horrible things. So I'm glad that Bowie's got you there.
Well, I will take over doing those horrible things for you. So
I think Bondi, our producer, also agrees with this. He's like, good, Jess can take extra.
Well, she even made me do improv. I got off the plane when we went over to LA the last visit, and within 3 hours of me being off the plane, having landed in LA, she had me in an improv course.
Oh my, really? I just thought it would be like a real proper LA experience to arrive in LA and go into
an improv session.
Yeah, what was the name of that place, Bowie?
Groundlings.
Yes.
Groundlings. Been a while.
That's so funny. You took your mom to Groundlings the second she landed. She's like, I'm jet lagged, but sure.
So I'm glad you're there.
Yeah, so I'll take over all of that for you. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Mum, and thanks for answering the phone, and we will chat to you off air, but stay on the line.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.